India has notified a new taxation regime for tobacco and related sin goods effective February 1 following legislative changes approved by Parliament. Taxation on tobacco and sin goods in India. Sin goods such as tobacco, pan masala and alcohol are taxed heavily in India due to their adverse public health and social impacts. Tobacco taxation serves a dual policy purpose, discouraging consumption through higher prices and generating revenue for public expenditure, particularly in health and social security. Structure of tobacco taxation in India. India follows a multi-layer taxation framework for tobacco products involving goods and service tax, central excise duty, cess, earlier GST compensation cess now replaced for tobacco. Under GST, tobacco products have always been placed in the highest tax slab due to their classification as demerit goods. However, despite high nominal tax rate, tobacco products, especially cigarettes, remained relatively affordable for consumers over the past decade. Public health rationale. Global public health bodies including the WHO recommended that tobacco prices should rise faster than income growth to reduce affordability and consumption. In India, stagnation in effective excise duty meant that real prices of cigarettes did not rise sufficiently, weakening tobacco control efforts. Revenue consideration. Historically, tobacco has been a major contributor to indirect tax revenues. The GST compensation cess introduced in 2017 was meant to compensate the state for revenue losses due to GST implementation. While it ended for most goods, tobacco remained one of the last items subjected to this cess, reflecting both its revenue potential and public policy priority. Shift toward purpose. Specific cess. The recent reform reflects a shift from a general compensation-oriented cess to a dedicated non-lapsable cess designed to ensure predictable funding without raising broad-based taxes. This approach aligns fiscal objectives with sector-specific policy needs, particularly national security and long-term preparedness. News summary. The Union Finance Ministry has notified a comprehensive restructuring of tobacco taxation effective February 1 following the passage of the Central Excise Amendment Act 2025. This marks one of the most significant overhauls of tobacco taxation since the introduction of GST. End of GST compensation cess. The GST compensation cess on tobacco products will cease from February 1 as the original objective of compensating state for GST-related losses has largely been met. The cess had already been extended beyond its original timeline due to pandemic-induced revenue shortfalls. Introduction of new excise and cess framework. To replace the compensation cess, the government has introduced revised central excise duty on tobacco products. A new cess under the Healthy Scrutiny cum National Security Act 2025 applicable to pan masala and related units. This new cess is designed to create a non-lapsable and predictable revenue stream, particularly for long-term security preparedness and capacity building, without increasing the tax burden on the general population. Revised GST slabs. Significant changes in the GST rates include bidi shifted to the 18% GST slab from the earlier 28% category. All other tobacco products including cigarettes and chewing tobacco moved to a 40% GST slab. These changes are aimed at simplifying the tax structure while ensuring higher effective taxation on products with greater health risk. New valuation mechanism. For smokeless tobacco products such as gutka, honey, jarda and chewing tobacco, GST valuation will now be based on the retail sale price declared on packaging. This is expected to curb underreporting and tax evasion, a persistent issue in the tobacco sector. Significance. The reform aligns India's tobacco taxation closer to global public health guidance by increasing the real prices of tobacco products, reducing affordability over time, strengthening enforcement through clear valuation rules. At the same time, it ensures fiscal stability by replacing a temporary cess with a purpose-specific long-term revenue instrument.